Welcome back to shit. Welcome back to Spilling the Tea
with Sid
and Tea.
Yay!
And our guest today we have
Aksel Wagner, foam insulation company, locally owned and operated since 2001, focusing on residential and commercial applications.
And I have the pamphlet here open as a cheat sheet to navigate this conversation. Yeah. So, do you guys have you guys worked together yet?
We haven't worked together yet.
Like none of your clients have.
No.
You haven't had to send any.
No. Because a lot of my clients, either they're buyers who are already buying a house in a community.
Like a new construction.
Yeah, like a new construction. So it's like whatever they have, that's what you get.
Right.
And if you want a different option, sometimes they charge you crazy amount of money, and they do not allow third-party people to come and install. So I cannot be like, hey, I have Aksel who does foam.
Yeah.
I know you guys don't do it, but can I have somebody who comes and do it? No.
It's a liability, a warranty deal. It's kind of crazy because with new construction, some of these homes that are built by D.R. Horton, Ryan Homes, some of these bigger home builders, they're just interested in slapping up homes for numbers, I guess, or they got to meet margins, right? And so that's kind of their deal is that they're not interested in a better product if they can get away with doing it cheaper.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. We got into that one episode already with a glass installer. The whole is new construction the move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it goes both ways. As an agent, I've seen new construction that is whack as fuck, and I'm like, you love it, you're my client, you go for it. But I would never tell my dad, hey dad, let's go buy this house, or hey Andrew, let's go buy this house in this
right.
Like a long term.
I'll bypass those builders big time.
Exactly. I have said publicly, what do you want?
Huh?
What?
No, nothing.
Can we what? What do you want? Well, say it now.
No.
I think I will also comment on that fact that it's like me being in construction, those homes are meant for like 3 to 5 year homes.
Right.
Like they're just looking to you gonna buy them, assume it, you go past the 1 year warranty, then things start breaking, and then you resell it before it gets too bad.
And that's the part that just doesn't make sense to me because say that 3 and 5 year thing happens over and over and over, it gets to the point where this thing's falling apart.
Right.
So now it's a
somebody holds
total
the bag.
Rehab.
Yeah, somebody holds the bag.
Is that worth it after?
Eventually, in like 25 years, you're doing a lot of updates to the house.
And
that's when you call Aksel. Hey man.
Yes.
Then you
Warranty
put
that and
this
done
house
with.
back together.
Yeah, can we upgrade our installation? Can you do that?
That's our typical. Yeah, that's our typical time frame. So, I think in Spartanburg County last year we had something like 3,000 homes approved for permitting new construction, and that's when we start to say, okay, well now I have to plan for in 3 to 5 years somebody is going to be looking to do updates, right? Because the current insulation that they put in the ceilings is called blow-in. It's like this pink or white fluffy stuff, and over time it just settles and it compacts. So you actually get less value the longer you have it in there. So most of the time the deal is somebody calls us and says, hey, my energy bills are getting higher and higher. Not sure what I'm doing wrong, or well, realistically they're not doing anything wrong. It's just their house is aging, right? Same as like a car getting to 100,000 miles. You've got to do the transmission. You've got to do, and that's one of those things is that we come in, we air seal the entire attic space to prevent the air from going up and out. So your HVAC unit is not always cycling and replacing that air. So you're actually more efficient.
So if you had to give me like a quote, like what's the average price?
Ooh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Because so let's say if it was like 1,000 square foot home or a commercial place, 1,000 square feet.
So if it was
everything in it. Well, okay, wait. I feel like my question will lead to I was going to ask, who are you working with the most?
Who are we working with the most? So right now, our portfolio of projects can vary month to month. Our current year, this year, we've done about 70% residential, about 30% commercial.
And are these like total rehab jobs, or just like?
A lot of them are retrofitting. Because people in the run up to these interest rate hikes were looking to sell refinance, move on to a different spot, or move to, you know, across the country if they're work from home, or, you know, to do whatever. So they're looking to upfit and pass on.
Yeah.
To add value.
Right.
And that's one of the easiest ways to add value is for instance, in an attic, if you add insulation, it's a quick and easy to tell a buyer, hey, look, your energy bills, we just added spray foam, boom, they're going to be lower.
I mean, you sold me.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of tough because in moving on to our average cost, it's very tough because each home is built differently, right? And each home we look at as the analogy of with building science, each home is like a human body, right? If something's wrong with the liver, I got to figure out what the hell is going wrong with the liver to be able to diagnose it in the first place, right? So with the insulation, could be HVAC, short cycling, you know, it could be your crawl space has humidity in it. We just need to figure out, you know, we first want to come in and actually do that eyes-on approach to, hey, look, what is the deal? You know, over phone, I can have the conversation, I can give you a rough number based on square footage, but that might not be actually diagnosing your problem correctly.
What is this rough number?
So, rough
I'm
number.
just like, you know, are we talking like
Right.
1,000, 5,000?
It's generally about double what your fiberglass option would be. So if you got it priced for fiberglass, you're going to be roughly double. So if we're talking $2,000, you might be closer to $4,000.
Okay.
Right?
So it might be a little more expensive, but
Right.
it seems like it's a lot more worth it.
Right, like long term.
Yeah.
Long term, right?
Yeah, because
exactly.
like
It's
the
what people
one,
should be thinking about your house.
yeah, the one thing about the other type of insulation, what is it called again?
Fiberglass.
Fiberglass.
That's the cheap stuff.
Yeah, the foamy shit, right?
No, that's the pink.
fluffy
The
stuff.
pink
fluffy stuff.
Panther
No, yeah, not
or
foamy, the pink stuff,
He's
right?
Yeah.
the foamy shit.
Yeah, he's the foamy stuff. Anyway, yeah, the one thing I know from looking at houses and inspection reports over the years is that particular insulation, because of the moisture around this area, gets wet, and that's how they condense more.
Even faster.
And no matter how much and whatever they do, they can have dehumidifiers all around the damn house,
Yeah.
and it'll still not help with that in a lot of locations.
right. And so we prevent the air intrusion with the humidity. So if we spray your attic, we're spraying the angled roof pitch. We're not dealing with the ceiling at all. Right? We want to remove everything that's up there and then seal it in all the way down to the soffits so the air doesn't come in the first place, nor the heat from the shingles. So you can actually kind of use your attic. to a
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So are you out there doing this?
Yep, I'm crawling in crawl spaces. I'm
Foaming it up.
Yep.
What do you have, like a big tool?
Well, yeah.
How's it work?
It's a pretty big logistical challenge sometimes. So we have basically self-contained operations. We have a generator, compressor. We have a 26-foot box truck, and we also have a gooseneck trailer to fit all this equipment on.
For every job you're
Yep.
all around. Okay.
Yep. So we bring the material in. It comes in 55-gallon drums. This is an industrial application, right? We're wearing full body suits. We have fresh air respirators.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
It is a chemical,
Yeah,
right?
I didn't consider that.
It is a chemical, and we want to make sure it's installed correctly. So all of our guys are manufacturer certified. We also put them through some third-party testing as well to make sure they're up to snuff with the current everything that's going on, because material changes, right?
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that every couple of years they're going back, getting retrained, updated, everything like that.
Yeah. Okay.
That's crazy.
How
though.
long's a job take? Like just like a little average job? Like
Ah.
I know we love using
Yeah.
that word. Like, it just works.
It's tough. It's tough.
Okay, so like
1,000 square feet, depending on degree of difficulty. So
Yeah.
if we're talking a roof deck where I only have 3 feet of space in the attic, it's going to take me for 1,000 square feet probably about 3 days.
Oh
if
wow.
I have,
Wow, yeah.
well, just crawling around because I have
Yeah.
I have this hose that comes along out of the truck, right? And I have to drag that with me.
Yeah.
Right, so I have to come in the house, access the attic, either up the stairs or through a hole, and then come in and spray and apply to the roof deck. But I also have to crawl around as a person. It's like in 3 feet of space.
Crawling around.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable.
If I have a larger attic and I've got 10 feet of space, I can just move and groove and bust it
Yeah.
out basically.
Get through a little quicker.
Right, and then you're talking probably a day or two. It really can vary again on the difficulty of the project. But.
And this is all like this foam is an instant dry thing. You spray it and like 2 minutes later it's dried and foamy and all, so you
Right.
don't need any after Like,
Right.
don't touch the paint for like 3 hours kind of thing.
Right,
It's
right.
something like
Now,
that,
I
right?
wouldn't say that it's without risk because obviously we have our gear on. We generally give people a time frame of about 24 hours
Okay.
for it to really settle, and make sure that everything is in the right place. If beyond 24 hours you feel something is wrong, then we're more than happy to come in and take a look at it,
Yeah.
diagnose it.
This is all foam.
Yep, that is all foam right
So
there.
cool.
Yeah,
I mean, it looks really cool.
Yeah, there's plenty of applications too. These days we're doing a lot of, people are doing a lot of conversions. So when you do sheds, when you do metal buildings, when you build a barn dominium, right?
Okay.
A lot of folks are coming in and they're just getting the bare metal or the bare, she shed or whatnot. And we're coming in and we're air sealing, making sure it's comfortable, which means that sometimes you can actually get by with only a mini split, which is reducing your upfront costs of construction. 'Cause
So
you don't
not
need to-
fully coating it like this, or like.
Right. Yeah. No. That's so that's a project. That photo is from a bank in Ridgeville, South Carolina. So we did the entire roof deck and the exterior walls. So that is essentially, we like to use the analogy of a Yeti cooler, because if you cut a Yeti cooler in half, it has foam in it.
Yeah.
And so we're air sealing it all the way around.
Yeah.
So there's nothing coming in that you don't control.
This is a heavy duty job.
Right. Right. That one I believe took us a week and a half.
Okay.
So.
Crazy, yeah.
Honestly, it kind of looks like fun to do. Like, are you
I
having a
can
little bit of
play
fun
around.
out
It
there?
is.
Like,
You can play around with
Are
it.
you
It
just
is.
like, like,
Yeah, we definitely want to make sure it's similar to when you're painting, when you're using a spray paint can or something. We like to make sure we're pretty consistent with the way it looks. Otherwise, you're
Yeah.
gonna have, with a crayon, you draw left to right and then you draw up to down. It looks
Yeah.
different, right? And that's it translates in the foam. And all of our guys are consistent at left or right or up or down, however they
Yeah.
like to spray. We have to make sure we do it through the whole project. We've drawn, before we get started every day, we do test what comes out before we apply it in your project. So there are some times where we're drawing pictures, and it's just
Yeah, make it a fun day.
have a little
Yeah.
fun with it.
Yeah,
it's
I
part
would.
of it. You gotta keep it light. I can't sit there every day and just be an asshole.
Yeah, well, I
You
feel
gotta-
if you have a job that's a little bit fun, you should exercise some of that
Right.
fun.
Yeah, keeps it
Right.
entertaining,
Yeah.
What is the craziest thing you have ever come around since you've been doing this? Like one thing that like you're like, you know what, this is a story I have to tell for the rest of my life.
So we actually had a request a couple years ago. I know we're based in South Carolina, but we had a couple. We've installed spray foam in Hawaii.
Heck yeah.
Hold on. How did you
Yeah.
even? How did they
And,
find you? Why?
So-
How
they
did you
not
even take
have
your
you
equipment
there?
over there? Like,
Right. So there's this logistical. I'll just say it's a logistical nightmare. But the opportunity came up where somebody was building a home. They had heard about us through some friends, and they said, "Hey, look, is this an option for you?" Money wasn't really a deal there. Obviously, you're building a home in Hawaii,
Why
so
you got money?
yeah. So he had brought us out there. We installed about 2 weeks and flew back, and it was probably one of the nuttiest experiences because it's so different than here. Every time I got off work, just go to the beach. I could just drive.
Heck yeah.
It's kind of yeah.
Be
It
in
is
Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you went to Hawaii.
Yep.
Did anything crazy happen, or you just had a good time? And
We
you were
just
like,
had
I'm
a-
in Hawaii.
We just had a great time. I mean, it's one of those experiences, again, that's probably the farthest opportunity we will ever have. Like, from South Carolina to Hawaii, you have like 24 hours or so of traveling, getting out there, and then to come back is even longer. Oh, it was horrible doing
It's
the
like
flight.
flying international.
Yeah. Oh, it was horrible doing the flight, but it was an awesome.
So how is this journey taking all your equipment over there? Like, did you purchase stuff or rent stuff over there instead of having to take all your stuff there?
Right. So the individual had somewhat of a shipping connection. He was
Okay.
moving his housing materials over there already
Yeah,
in containers, and so we just put ours in one of his containers.
Heck yeah, that's the best.
Well, it sounds like he took care of you guys for most of the
Yeah.
trip, but word on the street is Hawaii's it's
Expensive.
expensive to get there, but isn't it pretty cheap when you're there?
So,
Or is that depends where you're at? Probably.
Yeah, it definitely depends where we're at. We were on the islands of Molokai,
Sounds
which is
fancy.
well, it's more locals only type situation.
Okay.
So it's There are 3 resorts on the island, but basically 90% of it is locals only. So it can be cheaper because it's not a touristy destination, right? When we landed in Honolulu, you're going buying lunch for $17.50 a person. Like it's very expensive.
Yeah.
But in terms of the local places, it's so much different. And I think you also have to say, like, the locals obviously don't want you there.
Yeah.
Because they can't just up and move, right? So the whole slogan is, visit, spend, go home. Like that's the whole deal. Because you have to realize it's like land is so limited.
Yeah.
You're temporary on this island.
Right.
After a while, you don't belong here.
They're like, we have resorts for a reason.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like Mark Zuckerberg purchased, a couple thousand acres or something out there.
Good.
For just like.
Just cause.
Yep. And it's like, that's affordable housing potentially. That's like, all these people are just not able to up and move to the mainland because it costs so much. So
yeah, heck yeah, man. One day.
Yeah.
One day I'll be the Lord of Switzerland and I'll have a little plot in Hawaii.
One day.
One day.
I'll hold you to that.
Yeah,
We'll check it.
Now it's on here.
Now this is documented.
Now it's on here. It's live on video for the whole world to hold me accountable for that.
Okay. So
that's all you need though. Go ahead.
Okay, what about in the States? Anything that you've like gone to a job and you're like, whoa, or like somebody? Well, I mean, like in South Carolina.
Yeah.
I should have just said.
Yeah, we actually service Western North Carolina and then all of South Carolina and some of the border counties with Georgia. So Lake Hartwell, Clemson area.
Yeah.
Some of those homes that direction are all spray foam. So we cover quite a large berth. But I would say probably there are definitely some older homes that like are getting renovated, fully busted out all the walls. And you get there and you're like, you didn't realize that. I don't know, a cost of a package with DHL in Germany is like 4 times what it would be.
It is.
And it's tough because you can't send spammy magazines, you can't send marketing material. Over here you have the whatchamacallit, like you'll pay for the flyers to be sent out for a zip code or something. Over there that's just not. You just can't do that.
Yeah. Mailing system just is so different in a different country.
I just deleted 3 hours worth of old pods, so.
You did?
Oh, you have 3? Wow, that's a lot of space. How many? You have a 256 or you have
256, yeah.
Got a lot of little things over there.
Are we recording in 4K? Do I need to?
This is not.
Sorry, I forgot to bring my makeup.
Well, she got
I didn't even put makeup on today, but I got a whole bag, so.
Sorry, I'm oily. I forgot to bring my
we lose some quality when they upload. Eventually we're going to get a camera and.
Yeah.
We actually have a camera. We just need to figure out the.
It's got too much going on.
Too much going on.
Yeah.
So we did it. We use it. It's a Canon T3i.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice camera.
It only films like 5 minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes at a time.
Because it heats up.
I guess.
Well, if that's the problem, then that'll never be fixed.
Right.
Yeah.
And I have a camcorder, but it doesn't do 4K.
I also thought about just renting somebody else's podcast studio, like working out a deal, like, we're gonna be here only twice a month, hook us up, whatever.
You could also do the way to prevent that from happening on the camera is you have to port that video direct to a computer. So the camera is not processing on the camera. That's how you have to avoid that heating up situation.
Yeah,
Huh.
You lost
Yeah.
me, but
You see, Andrew, and I don't think Andrew has
I
ever
don't
brought
think he's
that up.
as nerdy as we think.
No, he's nerdy. He's just like truly nerdy.
He's white and nerdy.
Yeah.
We love that about him.
You like give him some little computer toys, this thing, and for his birthday he asked me for like a $400 water balloon that just came in.
Corsair or NXT?
Who even freaking knows? I told him, here's the money.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I told him, here's the money for your birthday gift. You figure out what you want and order it for yourself.
Wow. So
I mean, I might as well give it to him and just let him buy what he wants.
You get the wrong thing or something.
Yeah, because literally, he was like, babe, I want this. I was like, okay. where can I get it? He was like, Newegg or Amazon. I was like,
Oh
okay.
boy.
And then I started
Then you have like
going
5
through.
different product codes and oh gosh.
And I was
yeah.
like, babe, what is all this? I don't understand what you want me to order. Just fucking order it.
Yeah. I understand that for sure. I'm a little bit of a just a computer nerd.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, I know. Like, he got excited when I posted a couple of reels and videos of what Andrew's, computers were.
I was gonna ask, what do you do outside of the biz?
Well, it's kind of my hobby is either economics or video games.
How's your
or-
hobby economics?
So for backstory on me, so back in 7th or 8th grade, you know how they had job shadowing, right?
Yeah.
So I that previous summer had watched CNBC during for the summer, and no Animal Planet, no Nat Geo, no Disney Channel Plus or XD or whatever it was at that point.
Just CNBC.
As in CNBC. I was like, you have to imagine this, each 0.01 of a change in a stock could be like billions of dollars have just changed hands.
Yeah.
And you don't even see it.
Right.
Like these days, because it's so computerized, back in the days you used to see like the receipts flying around in the air. They're like, oh, I want 4,000 to 1,250, or I want, they're like throwing stuff everywhere.
Right.
And these days, it's just like calm, quiet.
Yeah.
You hear the hum of the computer, and billions are just
Couple
like,
billion here, yeah.
yeah, just moving around, and it just blew my mind. And
So seventh grade you was fully invested.
I
stock
literally
changes.
invested, like just into it. And because I would like take my birthday money and I would like put it in like
I was
onto
gonna
a
ask
stock.
where you invested.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. So I job shadowed a financial advisor, and essentially after that they were like, well, as long as you get your Series 6 and you do this, then you've got a job. Problem was, older me was like, I would love to do that as a job, but then it becomes a job, right? And then it's no longer like interesting or fun. Like
Yeah.
there's no game to it, or there's no
Right.
like in your head, you're not like learning new things every day.
Then you have to do it.
Then you follow the corporate.
Yeah.
Then you're like, hey, I've got to recommend this to my clients. Then I've got to do this. Then it's just not,
Yeah.
something I'm really interested in. So I kind of just follow it on the side now, and
Yeah.
So since you invest so much, as an agent myself,
Oh, boy.
how many houses do you have?
0.
What are you investing in?
So I'm a big proponent of mutual funds.
Okay.
I think that's a pretty great way for people to get started.
Have you got into any crypto?
So I did a long time ago.
Not now.
In high school,
Yeah.
I actually had purchased about $150 worth of Bitcoin back in 2015.
Which was probably a lot then.
Yeah. So I had about a third of a Bitcoin at that point, because it was right around the $400 range, and then I forgot about it. I like completely didn't even. I got out of high school. Went on with life, and then all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, did I ever do anything with that? Like I forgot about it.
Yeah.
Had to find the old login. I like all my old computers like had the password saved, so I had to boot them up. And I had to find the old login and everything. And then I logged back in, and lo and behold, like when it was like $40,000 for the Bitcoin, it was like $2,500 or something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's dope. Like I'll take it.
Yeah.
So then cashed out and put that into my actual investments, and then it like crashed a couple months later, and people were like, wow, you really made it. I was like, that's the tough part about investing is that you can't, if you're always trying to fight or find the perfect time, or the perfect time is yesterday.
Yeah.
Like that's the tough part.
Preach.
It's just
Buddy,
it's a
preach.
risk
Yep.
every time. That's why I was like, you seem like somebody who would go for safe investments. Like crypto, I just feel like the people that I see doing it a lot are like basically like teenagers usually. Like they're like, oh, this is my first thing, or like this is gonna be huge one day,
Right.
or they're coming up with their own. People are just like making their own currencies, and I'm like, now I don't even know what's going on. So I left the party. I was like, I not that I ever invested in it, but like at one point I was like kind of just keeping up, seeing what's going on.
That's tough too because
It's a
of the
lot.
regulation not existing.
Yeah.
For a long time on that crypto I did pull out. I've already paid my taxes. I don't want to get hit with back taxes. I don't want to get hit with. I don't care. It's counted as income. It's gonna get paid. And that's the tough part is a lot of people see it as a get rich quick They see
Right.
these influencers or the young kids are on Instagram.
Yes.
Oh, my
they
buddy's
made like
got a
a pyramid
lamb.
scheme out of it. They're
They
like,
did.
so
people
bad.
will DM me and they're like, hey, great video. DM me real quick. I click on the page and it's like crypto. Da 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 da.
Right.
Like, leave me alone. And then it's somebody like flexing like big wads of cash. I'm like, nobody looks
Typically,
like that.
it's laundering.
Yeah, you're doing
yeah.
something
Typically,
illegal.
it's probably like Hollywood money.
You're trying to recruit me, like something's
Right.
up and I'm running.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I think like the technology is totally great and awesome and amazing when you really
Yeah.
break it down with the mathematics and tracking, like with blockchain and tracking, like for instance in shipping, right? Blockchain could be really instrumental in shipping items, right? If you can track it from one point to the next exactly and who's got it, where and
Right.
how, and I think it makes a lot of sense. But with it being a currency, it's not actually backed up by anything that has actual value.
Yeah.
So it's speculative. It's all a speculation. With stocks or with certain actual currency trading, like with a dollar has an actual value that's backed up by U.S. Treasuries, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Blockchain has nothing. Like I could go and make my own coin. Let's call it Booty Coin and get started. Like
Yeah.
it really doesn't matter
Literally
what you
start
call it.
selling it to people. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Somebody,
just-
you just have to have a buyer to buy it.
Exactly.
That's all that
For the
is.
price
I could
that you
gift
asked.
you for your
Yeah.
birthday, my coin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but what is this? In my world,
It's
this
Exchange
money is
it,
$1 million.
exchange it for free
Yeah.
dinners, or
Yeah.
exchange it for free. You know what I mean? Like then
Right,
it has
exactly.
value, but it really doesn't otherwise. So.
And then we can be influencers and then we'll be rich. And then other people will be like, can we have some of your date
Yeah.
night coins?
Give these to your partner or
Yeah,
sell it in
yeah.
some funny, yeah.
Give us your partner, you get a date.
Adam and
Yeah.
Eve would pick it up. I'm sure you could sell it
Heck
to.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to time travel.
Oh, somebody
Um,
better not steal this idea. I'm coming for you.
Oh no.
It's
Oh,
worthless
not these-
currently.
Probably it's worth
Like
it.
this idea
But you
and
better not make it
trademark.
worth it for me.
Okay, so why have you not invested in real estate? Because you're in the game.
Yeah.
Valuations. That's pretty much it. Valuations are super high, and especially rates. When we talk about the difference in, let's say, a 30-year rate at 3% to now probably 7 3/4 or something.
It's
Hey,
insane right now.
You know, the interest payment of the first couple years that you're actually not applying to principal and you're not
Yeah.
it's kind of pointless. You know,
Well, you could do a rate buy down.
oh, you can do a
You
rate
could.
buy down, but the tough part there is then also your payback, because your rate is still higher, is going to be longer, right? I had
It's a bad time. Why not five? Why
Yeah.
not 5 years
Actually,
ago?
it's not a
Yeah.
bad time.
All right, shut up.
I mean, it's tough because I had an opportunity.
It's not a bad
like,
time for the right house.
right?
It's not a bad time period, I think. Like you said, you know, investing in stocks or
Yeah,
you
if
should
you got
invest in
money.
yesterday.
Yeah.
I think it's the same way in real estate. Like
They're
A
not.
lot of-
They're not making more land.
they're not making
Nope.
more
Yeah.
land and it's becoming scarce and scarce, and then
Yeah.
the whole thing with interest rates, everybody's like talking about it, but when you look at historically, our rates have always averaged at 12%, so historically we're still lower.
Right.
And you can always refinance if they go lower.
Yeah.
But if you keep waiting till they're at 12 and then they keep going higher, then you're losing that chance of refinancing
Mm-hmm.
a lot.
Yeah.
And Spartanburg, man, you should be investing. Buy that fucking $100,000 home.
Mm-hmm.
Or even at like
And flip
you
it
know,
and
like
make
a
that
little
money.
pool of investors. I could see
Right.
you getting in a little.
Yeah, there's a couple different opportunities, like I said. But in
Get
terms of just
portfolio.
me solo, yeah, not me
Yeah.
solo.
We're like, we don't have money. You should
Yeah.
invest in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
We're gonna invest through you. but
definitely
it's
not
like-
me solo.
You can also do duplexes. A lot of people don't think about duplexes and triplexes.
All I think about is multifamily. All
Yeah,
day long, so
yeah. I
I
mean,
can't wait. I want to own. I just want to be a landlord. So
Yeah.
that like
Walk around all day.
hey,
hey, you didn't clean your garden, clean this place.
I'm gonna be the best, but like
Yeah.
do things on
But
time.
yeah, a lot of people don't think about duplexes because you can still get the primary resident rate for your taxes and stuff for your duplexes
Mhm.
because you're still staying there, and the other
Yeah.
side can be rented out, and that could be an income towards your mortgage.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
and that pays for half of it. Like even if it's at 8%, like if someone else can pay half of your rent then or mortgage, then why not?
Yeah,
Right.
I would do that the moment.
And you
I could.
start there, and then you go to a 3-plex, and then 4-plex, quadplex, or whatever,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
And then you eventually have an apartment fucking complex.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, we curse on this podcast.
we try not to. I don't. Something
It just
the
comes
rains have gotten loosened, and we've just gotten more authentic
Yes,
as time has went on.
Right.
And I started age restricting some of these.
Oh,
Like
wow.
some of we
Okay.
got our friend coming in. Fucking.
Oof.
Anyway, I'm gonna try to keep this one more
Yeah.
clean.
In terms of investing, though, I will say, and I'm a real estate, there are options for REITs. Definitely right now, I wouldn't think that those are a good option. And obviously they weren't previously, but during lower interest times, REITs, like, easiest way to get involved in real
Right,
estate.
yeah, easiest way, yeah.
Yeah, and they're high dividend payout. Now, okay, you've got to make sure if you put that high dividend payout fund into your investments, that does count as income. So you want to make sure that you're
Pay
aware of that
taxes.
and you deal with your taxes accordingly. But if you put it into a self-directed IRA, okay, and you front load your money and pay your tax up front, however much your money grows, doesn't matter.
Right.
That makes sense. So there are different ways to go about it. I definitely would encourage people to talk to a financial advisor who's
Right, yeah.
certified.
Yeah.
But there's lots of options out there to investing in real estate.
My problem with stuff like that is I want it myself. I don't want anybody else in control of any of the decisions. I want to go in there and knock things down myself.
Mhm.
I want to be very much involved. I love houses. I just love a piece of land and getting to construct it and design it a little bit. And
Yeah, for me, I'm more of a tangible kind of person.
yeah,
So I like things that I can touch, feel,
hands-on.
hands-on, be,
Right.
stocks. That's why I never got into stocks and stuff, because I was always like, some other thing is controlling my money.
Yeah.
I don't,
Right.
I have no say, I have nothing besides here's my money, and that's about it, and you just watch it. Go up and down,
It's
moving
too
around,
much control
watching
to
it.
give up for me.
Too much control, and
Mm.
that's why. And then I got into real estate, and I started loving it more because
Right.
I was like, oh my God, yes, I can see my house. I can fix something if it's
Yeah.
not right.
Or hands
If
on,
I'm not
obviously.
getting,
Yeah.
if I'm not getting the value, what can I do to increase the value?
Right.
Like I can do stuff like that. And that's why I've always grown towards real estate. And just over the past 6 years, like people have gained so much equity in their houses.
That's the number one way in America to gain
It
equity.
is like, and it's crazy, and especially our town, like our area that we are in, because we're still in the developing zone.
Mm-hmm.
We're not like there yet,
Right.
Yeah.
so people still have time to grow here.
Well, you've got
and in general.
places like Inman, Woodruff, Union, Gaffney,
And all
you
that
have
comes with this.
Landrum. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of part of it is like Inman, for instance, has the new brewery that just went out, right? And it's like homes in Inman are obviously still relatively affordable, depending on where you are in town. And it's definitely a spot. Woodruff's the same, Union's the same. Like there are still places to find that are affordable for sure.
Don't even get me started on Boiling Springs.
Oh gosh, Bowling
Oh, they
Springs.
just tore
Yeah.
A super target
out
on
of
Highway 9.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stuart Perry just put that up. It's kind of interesting. There's a little bit of spray foam in it, but not enough.
A little bit?
We didn't do it. No, we didn't get it.
Man.
We didn't get it. I will say the courthouse, the new Spartanburg County Courthouse
Yeah.
has it in it. That was a company outside of town that got that one. The new ballpark is going to get it.
Yeah.
So we're trying to work on that one, but that'll be a big,
You guys gotta start.
Well, it's these we're locally owned and operated. These national
Yeah.
guys come in
They don't
and
even care.
they don't care. Yep.
Well, hey,
Yep.
at least you got the locals.
Right.
There's enough things
Exactly.
going on locally.
Exactly. We got plenty going on. I think we're actually we've got a couple of cool projects coming down the line there. We just recently completed on Verde Boulevard in Greenville a 5-story bank building.
Nice.
Wow.
So shout out there. Yeah, they've got a fitness studio in there. They got a smoothie place. I'm like, I would work at this bank if I could live in this building.
Live there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
unbelievable some of these places that are being designed, but
So you get
I
to
would
see a
love
lot of
to.
cool places.
I'm really
Nice.
big on gossip. I just
Gossip.
because I see
What a word.
I see it's nice to know what's happening, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's what it's like if I sat on the planning commission for the county, right? It's like I just know,
Why don't you?
I just see there's a great guy who's on there now, and I don't want to take his fire, Mr. Santiago.
Oh,
He's
Santi.
gonna do his thing. He's great at it too.
He's so good at it.
Um,
There's got to be somewhere you can get in there and start
You can
Yeah.
put it
helping
together.
with some.
It's like his little
I
buddy,
feel
buddy
some
ready.
passion here.
Yeah. Well, there are some things too in terms of planning, like you said, Bowling Springs, like, oh my God.
It's a disaster.
You just, absolute disaster.
need help.
Nobody really, and okay, Bowling Springs also could have been incorporated a couple years ago, but voted against it, didn't want to do it, didn't want to have their own township, I guess. So they're kind of, it's tough.
The one thing that it's crazy, my grandma, I think I've said this before on the pod, but my grandma bought her house when she moved down here, $90,000 cash.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that neighbor's house was up for sale for like $320.
Oh, $320, good. That was a good
I'm
guess. Yeah. I had the opportunity to go for a mill house a couple years ago. A friend of mine was looking to get rid of it, and at the time I just didn't have $90,000. Like I just, everything was better yesterday, but my reference point is today. So
you're right.
Yeah, the house
You're
is
175 right now. There's a nice house in on Green Street.
For real? Are you still looking?
Yeah. No, for sure. Definitely on the table for now.
It's like not even on my mind. I know that it's not a bad time, but for me it is. Like, it's not even on my mind right now until those numbers go down.
I'm definitely still surfing Realtor.com. I'm doing the.
Yeah,
I think everybody does.
Yeah.
I think everybody loves looking at houses and loves keeping up with what's going on.
A friend of mine sent me a listing in Australia the other day.
Stop it.
Hell
Wait, are you from here?
Well, I am. I was born
Okay.
here. My family is not, but I am. And a friend of mine sent me the listing. It was like, you can buy in Australia something, it's like just land, and it's for cattle ranching, right? But they're selling it, and it's literally the size of Belgium. You can purchase like 8 million hectares or whatever it is.
And what's the number like?
Oh, it's 6,000 a hectare. That's what they're offering. That's what they're getting in the range of. So
Cost.
What is that?
6,000 times. It's the conversion rate of Australia. That's Australian dollars. So I'd have to say 8 million times 6,000. What is that? Do we know? That's a big
8
number.
million?
8 million what?
Hectares. Acres. It's.
Yeah, that's the.
This is
8 million
I'm
times
confused.
6,000.
This is the cost.
So I have a builder in Australia as well.
Oh,
What
okay.
was that
Wow.
number?
Small world.
What was that number?
So that number came out to 48.
million.
Yeah. It's
Are you gonna do it?
No, I was a little out of my price range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He posts all his houses, man, that because he's a builder.
Mhm.
And he posts all his houses and they're so gorgeous. No freaking land at all. Like,
Yeah,
it's
you
like
buy more
land-
house over there than you
you
do.
buy more house than you get land, right?
Right.
But man, those houses, easy $1 million.
Yeah.
American.
You don't hear much about
It's
Australian
similar.
architecture, so
But they're so beautiful.
Yeah. It's kind of tough. It feels almost like, since those cities are so developed, Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, it's just they're so developed. It's like there's not a lot of room left, so they're just putting up what they can. And I think I had seen that a starter home there was something like $450.
Dang.
Yeah, it's like so nuts that people, they'll be living with their parents till they're like 38, 40.
oh my
then buy a home.
gosh.
Like that's
Just
that's
That's how it is though
standard.
there.
yeah, because it's
I love
tough.
places.
38.
Yeah.
I love places. I lived with my parents in America till I was 30.
Okay, but
It's
40?
tough because their income over there is
I don't know.
not
I
it's
just-
not on parity with their cost of
Yeah.
living.
it's gonna be like that here very soon.
Yeah.
It will be, yeah. And
A
then
lot
you
of
see
people are doing it
everybody
right now because I just read this thing. It was like they're expecting like a huge spike in luxury homes in the next like 5 to 10 years because so many people are staying with their parents to save up money because nobody
I'll
wants
be
to
ready
touch
for
these
them.
interest rates.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be ready for them whenever they're ready to buy their
Yeah.
luxury home.
Yeah.
864
Yeah.
621 2503.
Yeah, and that's what it's like. Do you rush and do you grab it or do you take the time and
Right.
then everything's gone? I don't know. I
Because
think
renting is tough. Renting, right now, if we look at the market, right? I think in terms of Gen Z or folks that are right around that 2000, and I was 98, so I'm kind of there. It's like more people are spending at 30% or more than 30% of their income on rent.
yeah.
Because you look at Spartanburg, even like the Montgomery building, I think it's like $1,800
Yeah,
Like,
for
just
a
rent-
1-bedroom.
For downtown Spartanburg of all places, which is still not 100% developed, which still has a lot of room left to grow, I just really don't know what it's going to end up being in a couple years when we have the baseball park, when we have we're so far behind on units, and when you rent, you don't build equity. Like, it's almost, there's no way you see that money ever again. You're never realizing that.
You're paying for someone else's money.
Right.
And I think real estate did give me that perspective, but I also still have the perspective of like, I love to rent because I don't know where I'm going next. And I don't want to be locked in until I can get to the point where, hey, I'm going to get this place, and when I leave, I'm going to rent it out.
Yeah.
But like,
to
me, I don't see it like that. And people are like, oh, I've spent $30,000 on rent. I'm like,
yeah, but you
okay,
see,
but
that's
you
when
had a
you
place
call.
to live every day. I
Yeah, but that's when you call your friend T and be like, hey, I want to buy a house. I might be moving in a couple of years. And T will recommend you what area. Well, technically, she's not allowed to recommend you what area, but she will kind of steer you around a lot. And then we'll come up with a strategy.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm a support person for renting. But I think it's getting like extremely unrealistic. Like, you can't, like, I used to live alone and rent alone. I couldn't do that here. I mean, I can.
Right.
It's
right.
It's like when your just pay
quality
rent,
goes
just
down.
sitting in my house for the next 30 days because I have no money. Like,
or you end up having roommates.
Because it's not possible for one person to like support themselves.
No,
like, everything is set up for two incomes.
The people who move here, so we got in the construction industry, we've got this. I have this conundrum with my employees and our place of work, is that we're getting the opportunities to insulate all these $1 million homes, all these nice, fancy luxury homes, all this stuff. And we're building the problem, like
actually.
Like we're causing our own issue of. Well, if it's not great to buy a house now, like, I'm still increasing home values. I'm still, but when a New Yorker moves here and thinks that it's a low cost of living place in comparison to where they came from, right? Which is true. The tough part is they're not going to come down here and expect to pay New York wages for me to compensate my guys to catch up with what their expectations are, right? So that's the tough part is, we had some folks from Orlando come in last week, actually. And they said, oh, well, we're just looking for a home. We're doing this. I said, well, homes on average here are about $350. You're going to get a decent place, maybe 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And that's kind of what, $350 is it? They were like, that's low. That's nothing. We're moving next week. I'm like, oh, well, the tough part is, the tough part is we're then exacerbating the problem, right? Because we're still low on housing stock.
Now the people here already still can't afford it.
Right, because I can't charge them, $45, $50 an hour for my laborers, plus my profit margins, plus my, you just can't do it because they're not going to pay it, right? They're going to get the guy who doesn't understand his value, who doesn't know what's going on, and just going to chuck in a truck, and he's going to get it done, and that's fine, but he's also not paying himself accordingly, right? So that's the tough part is we're always fighting that and always making sure to put our quality over quantity. And sometimes that hurts us in terms of the amount of work we could be even doing.
Yeah, I don't know. I think very often about this situation of everything rising. Because I'm like, what if, at some point things have to level out, right? They just have to.
Right.
But what if they never do? Like, what if in 10 years we're at like a 24 interest rate, houses are $500,000,
and
like,
people will still buy them because they don't need to.
People will, but everybody else is just on their own.
Listen, if you're like, should I pay $2,500 in rent versus $2,000 in a $100,000 home?
Maybe
I would.
Okay, all right.
You might just say, you know what, fuck it, let's go.
Right. It's tough because also capitalism requires to work infinite expansion, right? When we look at Japan, when we look at some of these older Western, like European countries, right? The problem is they're already at that point where that expansion doesn't happen. Like Japan has cities that are literal ghost towns.
Stagnant.
Yeah, because people have either died out, moved on to the main city of Tokyo, and then like there's nothing going on, right?
Yeah.
And the residents there's no tax base, they're all on Social Security or benefits, like there's just nothing there. And so at some point, even with our immigration, even with our, our birth rate is falling, and at some point it has to reset, or we have to change the methodology in which our economy works. Like that's just
I feel like that's what needs to happen, but my voice does not matter. So
It doesn't matter.
yeah, let me start making changes. No, it's just terrifying. And like at one point I looked into because so in like every other state, you just like Section 8 and stuff, they exist and they are happening.
right.
I recently like just dove into this because I'm like, what's going on here? So I looked up in South Carolina. It's a 5 to 7 year wait list.
Right.
Doesn't matter if your circumstances do not even matter. They're not even taking applications. So like that I feel has made a very big issue because there's no limitations on those things.
Right.
You get that. You can have it for 10, 20, 30 years, your whole life.
Yeah.
And
Right.
like I feel like it should be, if that was limited and everybody had to like, or all the benefits, all the things, let people have them when they need the help, and then you grow as humans are supposed to grow and evolve and reach better things, and then you pass it to someone else who needs a little push, and I'm like, that's insane to me that a 5 to 7 year wait list in a city with a ridiculous amount of people.
Not a ridiculous amount of people.
Tens of thousands. I'm from Ohio. There's 3,000-4,000 people in my town. If we needed that, I would just go. I'd call her myself. You know what I mean? Like it's very available. So for like a city like this where homeless rates are going up, the homeless shelters are packed. Like it's just, this world is not. There's problems.
Yeah, I think it's also the amount of support the state gives to that program. And I think it's tough because a couple other programs around the state are in a similar situation. Like when we talk immigration, right? There are 2 sanctioned refugee programs in the state. There's one that sits in Charleston and there's one that sits up here in the upstate. That's it. So we can only accept as many refugees or families through those 2 programs. It's not, when you go into like New York or Massachusetts or something, they have almost hundreds. Like you're just like, they're constantly getting people, constantly accept and we talk about economic growth is like those ideas, those people, like they can support that, and just the state also has to have more, like conviction in supporting those programs than they do. Because Section 8 too is like, even that voucher, I know it's supposed to be equal opportunity housing, right? As it should be. But even then, some landlords will be like, no, I don't have any vacancies. Like they just don't want to deal with the headache. And that's the frustrating thing too, is like, even if you got it, the tough part is this is still going to be a bitch trying to even get into somewhere that accepts it.
Yeah, it's just, these things have been on my mind lately, and I need to stop thinking about them because what am I going to do about it?
It feels almost like doom scrolling. It feels like just existential. Like
but there's always like, when you dig deeper through this problem, like there's always some payoff somewhere else.
Me and your brother got into it for so long, and here's just a little hot take before we wrap up because you guys got me going. Maybe I got myself going. I'm not gonna blame you guys. We're talking about this for me and your brother, probably 45 minutes, chopping it up about all this.
Oh my god!
And what it falls back to is like, okay, nobody asked for all this, but just I have to connect the dots here. So the school system, right? The school system was designed not for children, for the most part. We can teach our kids as parents if we wanted to. That's why homeschooling is a thing. But the school system was mostly designed for parents so that parents can work.
Yeah.
Correct. To keep this economy flowing, right?
Right.
So now we have a school system where it's just teaching kids how to be workers.
Correct.
Which, again, the benefit is not for us, the people. The benefit is way higher than us, these people who have established these things. No. Yeah, the 1% of families who are watching us.
Right there.
Yeah.
This is just like, it's a very bad setup, and I know too much. I know more than I want to know, and I wish that I just didn't know.
Have you you thought about property taxes tied to education and inequities?
All of these
Yep.
things are just on my mind on a day. This is why I have anxiety.
But here's the thing, like all the states, like going back to the refugee sections thing, like the reason why bigger states or richer states or states like New York have all those other programs versus we have only two
Right.
is because people in South Carolina don't pay taxes.
Right. 100%.
Listen.
State do.
Yeah, but
do it
listen.
yourself.
No, but here's the thing, like these people are paying $1,000 a month in property taxes.
Right. There's
Versus
definitely
we're paying $1,000 a year
right.
in property
But
taxes.
that has to be made up for in other places. Like I never had to pay taxes on my car in Ohio or Michigan.
Yeah, but because you're probably like paying property taxes, higher taxes on sales tax and your property, if not your car. Your dad probably paid that,
Yeah.
and you just don't know. Our sales tax is also less. We're just at 7% sales tax.
Right.
Other states have more than 10.
Right.
So
On a
we're all
daily
gonna
basis.
join the government. And
Yeah, I think they need
I
us.
think
I
we
just
just need
with
a
videos
way
like this,
in.
I'm not sure if we're gonna be safe from any controversy. You know, we just.
I mean, yeah, most of the people who, we're supported. We're always coming from a good place, and at the end of the day, we just
Yeah.
care about people having
People in general,
better
yeah.
lives.
Yeah.
And,
Including ourselves.
I always
Yep.
was like, why am I going to bring a child into this world? Because what's going on? And now I have a child in this world. Now I'm very concerned about what's going on.
Yeah.
The
Role of a parent.
Yeah,
That's
it's
how
a
it
lot to
is.
think about, but
Yep.
we can just do our best.
Yeah, for sure. So, what is a tip that you can give our viewers when it comes to you and your business?
So a tip to give to viewers, realistically, even if you are not inside our service area, realistically, you always want to make sure the person doing the job is qualified and certified. They should be able to provide all the paperwork that you ask for, products, certifications, everything. Should be able to provide that up front and be able to communicate what they're going to do 100% and why it matters. Too often, again, Chuck in a truck, buys a truck, does it, and then, we get a call back, hey, this guy is no longer in business, how can we, but just make sure you're asking the questions of, verification, product information. I mean, just ask questions.
Yeah,
Like throw
you
it.
probably get a lot of come fix this too.
Yeah, just throw questions at him, and if there are some things they can't answer, then just make sure you get an answer, whatever that is.
You just reminded me something since you brought this up. How long have you been in business, or how long has the company you're working with?
2001.
2001. Okay.
So yeah, we've been around since 2001. We were originally, so my family came over from Germany in the 80s. We originally came over because of textiles. After the textile crash, my father and my uncle basically were like, hey, look, we need to do something different. So this is our something different, and we've been prioritizing customers since 2001 about their projects, and just want to make sure that, again, people get the right stuff rather than the wrong stuff.
Yeah, I feel like that could
Quality
go for
over quantity.
any field, any service, really.
Yeah.
Vet your
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We do.
Are you gonna ask me this question?
Yes. So we always end our episodes
Oh, boy.
with your big why. Like we always like to ask our guests, what is your big why to your everyday life? So what's your big why?
In
Maybe
terms
I should be louder.
of
What is your big why?
in terms of why I do this,
Like just what gets you out of bed?
What is your
makes you
motivation
go
every day?
and,
Everyday why?
You know.
It can be
so
family.
my end goal in life is to be that philanthropic billionaire. Like that's my goal. That'd be like,
Yeah, hell yeah.
yeah, Jeff Bezos' ex-wife. I'm like, that's what I want to be. She's just giving out money. You know
Not
what I mean?
Bezos, but the ex-wife.
Yes, the ex-wife. Yeah, she did it right. She married into money, and she got that divorce and
Yeah.
got the payout. But my end goal would be to be able to perpetually be able to give money to programs. I'm a big proponent of education, so the Malala Fund. Big fan of her and what they do locally, like Miracle Hill and whatnot. Some of those programs, I think it would just be great if I could just sit there and have dinners and host all this stuff. Because here's those big checks. I've never held one of those big checks. I
Yeah.
would love to be able to do like a big fat sign on the check.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's so crazy because, like, at the end of the day, it's not about money, but, like, that's very similar to what ours was, like, just helping as many people as we possibly
Right.
can.
Yeah, like to
I
be
think
the
we're-
Bill Gates or to be the
Yeah,
Warren
like, if
Buffett.
I
or,
had
like,
that money, I just know things would be better.
Yeah.
Like,
Definitely, personally, I'd have to have my ducks in a row because I don't need any random cousins showing up and be like, yo, I need some money. Like, no,
No,
I
just-
know all my
no.
family. Like,
Where is it going?
Yep.
You might have like a random girl from Africa come by.
she might be texting you.
Yeah, I mean.
Hey, my birthday's coming up.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
April 3rd, FYI.
I'd like a car.
Oh,
Okay, no,
geez.
I'm very cheap, like when it comes
Okay.
to certain things. Like for
You can
me,
bring her a
y'all,
Kit
you
Kat
get,
and
yeah,
she'll
you
be
have me
happy.
like, you buy me a foot-long Kit Kat, man, I'll be your best friend for life. They actually make them,
Some
during
little
Christmas
things.
time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Like
they
a
make,
log? Would you
Yeah.
call that a log?
no,
Kit Kat?
No,
Oh,
they
sorry.
just call it a foot-long
I'll
Kit
cut
Kat.
it like a cake.
They have
Oh
a
my
Twix
God.
as well. They make a giant Twix like a foot-long.
This has to be like a
That's so,
special
like,
order thing. I don't know where you.
Diabetic
But,
thinking about it.
Yeah, we
like-
don't eat the whole thing.
I mean, yeah, you don't eat the whole thing.
well, you would
Shit, it should
eventually.
last
I mean,
you.
shit.
You share it with the family. It's like a dessert.
Do you know?
Share it with the family. Me, myself, and I.
Yeah,
Well, there you go.
exactly.
That's a
And
problem.
my belly and my
Oh.
bowl.
Am I in bed at midnight? Then it's probably
Me has type 2. I have type 3. Myself, type 1,
Yeah. Like,
Oh,
yeah, that would be
jeez.
the best, huh? Oh my god, yeah.
So-
Maybe you should give me that for Christmas, huh?
Okay. Is there anything else that you would like to
Add questions?
plug yourself? I'll tag everything in the description, but
Yeah, we've got some interesting thing coming up. So we're at least if people are holding off on buying homes, we have our 25 years coming up, and we have some things planned, I guess. So definitely stay
You're
tuned
doing
for
an
that.
event?
Maybe not an event, but maybe like a year-long sale of some kind or something. I don't know. We're thinking about it. But yeah, definitely stay up to date. All our socials will be tagged in the video description. FICsprayfoam.com is where you want to go. We also have NorthCarolinaFoam.com. Just put that one up there. So we're moving and grooving, booming and zooming is how I like to say it.
Wow,
All right.
that is good.
Yeah.
Well, I think this was good.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys
it
having me out
was,
here. Yeah, this
yeah,
is
of
fun.
course.
This
Thank
was
you
fun.
for talking with
I
us.
hope you had fun with us and
Glad I could
in our pod.
spill the tea with my Nalgene.
Yay!
Yeah, we've spilled the tea. The tea has been spilled. The tea is hot.
The tea is hot. This
Or the
episode, the tea is
Kermit
hot.
meme or whatever.
Yeah.
None of my business.
And we just move on.
Yeah.
All right.
This is a great episode. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm gonna give you. Oh.